You're the Ever's mother, aren't you?
Who's asking?
You don't recognize me? Both of my boys are gone. Now you don't even care. But you even watched them when you were young. You
babysat them? Maybe I'm done watching over everyone else's babies. Maybe it's time I made sure mine were safe.
How dare you, Mom Evers? You were an officer in the Moss Wars. You have responsibilities. You can't just
run away. I'm done running.
Next time on Evers After. Celebrity talk host Muse Coronary makes a special guest appearance as trial reporter Trishish Ishing-Trish.
Being gone. I can't bear it. It's just all so much. It's a real whole lot. Why won't you talk to me, Mama? I'm here, Mama, right in front of you. Seems like a million years since we left for the front, and now I'm real dead. Chuckle's real dead too, Mama. His head chewed all up like in a sausage maker. You remember? We all cried like a sausage strainer, didn't we? Didn't we?
We representatives of Block Council hereby pass the following judgment. Gurry is banished to 902 March and Lane cul-de-sac until further notice.
This was a farce. None of you were there with that big bomb. I was saving everyone.
No, I was.
Gasp! Did you hear that, everybody?
You weren't on the right side of the big bomb then, and you aren't on this side of the street now. There's no body. It's not even legal to bury her.
This is hard for all of us, Tev. We loved her more than anything, but it's time to face facts. Samantha is gone.
You don't understand, Mr. Evers. I can't just let her go like a sack of buried trash. I won't.
Not trash, Tev. Treasure. Heart treasure.
I can't. Not after the accident.
I can stall the others for a day, but tomorrow is Sam's birthday. You need to deliver her flowers then.
Greetings, everyone. I'm reporter Muse Coronary playing Trishish Ishing-Trish. I'm reporting on a most unusual situation. A sheriff is being accused of doing a big bomb. If true, this could be a landslide for justice. And what happens when a sheriff is embroiled in a scandal on this latitude? More with me, Muse Coronary, as Trishish Ishing-Trish when we return.
Harold?
Mrs. Evers, darling, I missed you.
Not now. We have to move quickly if we're going to save Sama.
But how?
Evers After Season 2 premiere. A show with a dead main character. How innovative. Next up, has your feelings fountain dried up? Deep and wide, we will help your genitals get flowing. Radiationships is now on WSPN. The Spoon.
Sliders and scanners, the emperor of ice cream. Settlers and survivors, to all you radheads out there in a radiation nation, broadcasting the self-help relationship advice they don't want you to hear. We are live from our EBS compound, an undisclosed location deep in the lines of the Sadlands. Our hearts pure, our backs strong, and our eyes shielded from the glare of the bone waste. I am Radd Flink, with me the professor. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your radiation ship. And we are back, episode 2. Episode 2 of Radiation Ship, starting out strong, hitting the ground running. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to be a part of the WSPN family, as we always have been.
Yes.
And always will be.
Proud.
Thank you for listening to us on the radio. Please don't listen to any pirated or other broadcasts. If you happen to see someone rebroadcasting this, alert the local authorities if it's not over WSPN, because that's the only authorized way to hear this fabulous relationship advice that we are about to provide today. Now, with me is Professor, and I'll let him speak here in a moment. But before we do, I want to get to something. You guys have been sending us mail, and we're used to getting fan mail. I'm certainly used to getting mail from, just troves and hordes of just gorgeous ladies looking to inquire into my relationship status, which I won't get into on the air.
Yeah, Radd is an enthusiastic recipient of all types of mails.
Absolutely. Love them. But, we're getting more and more, and to the point that it's hard to go through it all. And so I want to go ahead and just address a couple of common questions that we've seen in the mail today.
Right.
Mailman is he's got that huge sack of mail just thrown over his shoulder. And it's I think it's doing a little number on his back. So let's see if we can't cut down his workload a little bit.
Yeah.
Professor, how you doing? What's on your mind today?
Just the same struggles, the same uphill battle as a newly amputated sufferer of inconvenience. I have to find the strength to face each day, and that strength comes in my sense of purpose. I know that while I am horrifically mangled, the people of the Sadlands still need me, and so I do my best. I sleep. And then I sleep a little bit more, and then I'm up at the crack of noon, and I'm ready to delve into the hearts and minds and orifices of the people who need me, and the people who don't know that they need me but do actually need me, and the people who don't think that they need me. Those are maybe the people who need me the most of all.
Right. Well, yeah. Everybody's got their problems, so let's get into some of the questions that we've got. And one of the main ones we've heard, not heard, we've read. Mm-hmm. Caden has gone through some of these letters as well, and he's relayed the same thing to us. Aside from there being too few return addresses and identifications as to what species the writer is or is not,
right?
We were seeing a lot of questions on who was that doing the radio show, because I don't know if you noticed, but there was a brief sabbatical. We weren't off the clock. But we were away from the clock.
Yeah, it was a continuing education pursuit.
Exactly. Exactly.
While we carry within ourselves the prowess, the intellectual prowess, to tell you what's wrong with you and how that needs to be fixed, sometimes we need to broaden our own horizons. We need to become more intimately acquainted with the failings of you, our loving listeners. And so we set out upon a journey to learn about those things, and came back just a little more wizened.
And while we know all the answers, we have the answers already. Sometimes it's helpful to go through the motions of, this is what, if I were a less enlightened person, what I might have to do to learn more.
Exactly, yeah. It's an exercise in empathy.
Yeah. So, and anyway, the question we keep getting is about Caden. And there's some people who are like, what the heck's going on with the show? What's the spooky noise coming out of my radio?
Right.
Why are, you guys are creeping me out? All kind of weird stuff like that. And so we just wanted to kind of get into it. And we're going to have Caden on here in just a minute to sort of answer some of these questions and really get into sort of what makes Caden tick and who he is. And he is, of course, the producer of the show. And has been producing for some time behind the scenes, but he took up the mic when we were temporarily away here in the studio, so he could cover for us. But before we do have Caden on, I'd like to have we've got an expert here to speak about Caden. This person's been studying Caden for quite some time and has extensive knowledge on the subject. Professor, would you like to share with the people what you know and what you've learned over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. So Caden is he is the producer of our show. He gives us information. He screens our callers. Sometimes in our absence, Caden will take up the microphone and host the show bravely and admirably. Like Radd and myself, he is a resident of the bunker. Like Radd, he refuses to leave the bunker, and so we live together. We work together. We share our hearts. We share our minds, and we're glad. We're glad that Caden is.
Absolutely. Now, something that's been on my mind for a while. And if you don't mind just digging a little bit deeper into that trove of knowledge that you do have.
Absolutely.
On the subject. Again, we'll have Caden on in just a minute to go over some of this stuff, but I'd like to cover a few things first. Do you know where Caden is?
Caden is in the bunker.
Right, but like
ostensibly.
Specifically.
Well, Radd...
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's because it seems like he's at the producer desk at the moment.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll hear him off to my right.
Yeah.
but he's still over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, is that just ventriloquism? Is that like something him throwing his voice, or because I know he doesn't have like what you or I would probably refer to as a body,
right?
Like at least not a consistent one.
Of course, yeah. Well, and let me answer the question to where Caden is with a question of my own. Radd, where are any of us? You know, it's very easy to become sidetracked with questions of corporeal location. You know, the locality of our personhood. But what does that mean? You know, where does that go? How deep does that stretch? How high does that reach? You know, so I think maybe to answer the question of where is Caden right now, you have to ask yourself, where am I right now? You know, are you sitting in a chair across from me? That's the easy answer. You know, am I in a bunker? Am I in an emergency broadcast facility?
I don't know.
Sharing truth with people, you know?
Yeah.
Am I, you know, a centuries-old disembodied entity that can live simultaneously in wires and in spaces and partially inside of people at the same time? I don't know, Radd. You tell me.
That's a good point. So the answer to the question, where is Caden and what is Caden, is sort of more like, you gotta understand it from relation to yourself.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
What is Caden? What's the difference between me and Caden?
Yeah.
And by understanding yourself, then you can better put a sort of definition on Caden in relation to yourself.
Precisely. The trigonometric metaphysics of the entire ordeal need to be parsed.
Okay. So, for example, I am sitting in a chair right here across the table from you.
Mm-hmm. Am I?
Well, I'm trying to get the baseline here.
Are you?
And we're sitting here, we're drinking coffee, we're on the air, people can hear us.
You're drinking
coffee. But that's
coffee.
a good point, because we're on the air.
I'm looking at coffee.
So we're not just here, we're also everywhere.
I'm longing for coffee.
We are everywhere. We're in our listeners' ears, we're in their minds.
I'm yearning.
Wow, that's a very good point, Professor.
Yeah.
I guess we should probably go ahead and take a call.
Mm-hmm.
Or do we have a commercial next? What's up next?
And now, commerce. On WSPN, The Spoon.
What makes a vehicle special? A very special feeling does.
A very special
Your
feeling.
family wants to feel safe, and they should. Like a comfy blanket, a toasty cup of cocoa, or warm summer breeze. All we want for you is for you to having had felt. This is a new feeling to make you also feel sad, lonely, angry, safety, love.
Safety's not a feeling.
Empathetic transportation for your heart. It pumps, it thumps, it beats, it drives.
Because it's a car.
Emotion makes you run. Our vehicles feel that.
Seriously.
It beat, it pride, it soar, it family, it country, it love. We use no engineering in our cars, just pure feeling.
Oh, I am driving.
Moving forward, we build our vehicles with motions.
What the hell does that mean?
Emotions. Meet this year's top award-winning modeling, the Chevy Felical.
Oh, that's a fucking stupid name.
Your heart will thank you. Feeling. That's what makes a vehicle a vehicle.
No, it's not.
So nice, you'll need it twice. WSPN. The Spoon.
Welcome back to Radiation Ship, episode 2.
2.
That brand, wow.
Yeah.
What a brand.
Yeah.
What a product or service.
I have 6 of those.
Yeah.
One for every day of the week.
And or I have participated in it 6 times.
And then I rest upon Shabbat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Going back to what we were speaking of before, we were talking a little bit about Caden and some questions you guys had sent in to us.
Yeah.
And we love hearing from our fans.
We do.
We love hearing nice things from our fans.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you how grateful we are to have all these letters coming in that just say, you're great, you're wonderful, I'm just full of great, I'm grateful.
Why not? Why can't you tell them?
Well, I'm telling them right now, but I don't have the words to fully express just how much it really just it's an encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
It puts a little more pep in my step.
Yeah.
Every morning, getting up, knowing that I have these letters that I can read, that I can paste up on my walls all over the bunker that just say "You're great."
It's okay. It's okay, Radd. I appreciate and understand that you don't have the vocabulary to express what's within you. You know, we all have our shortcomings. I myself recently lost a thumb, and I can only hope that you will show me the same empathy that I'm showing you with your ludicrously truncated diction.
Well, I mean, everybody's got the problems, and you know, your thumb is a real tragedy. Mm-hmm. But I'm not saying I don't have the words.
Simple words.
I'm saying there are no words to express this.
Monstrous tragedy.
They just don't exist. This is such a deep,
egregious
strong,
deformity,
mighty feeling that nothing verbal can express it.
That's all right.
Anyway, going
One
on
syllable,
to the questions we were talking
they're all
about.
valid, I guess.
Some of you are also sending in some really nasty stuff about WSPN. Once again, we'd like to remind you, they're our family.
Yeah.
You can't talk about our family like that. Stop it.
Yeah.
Quit trying to get this. It's almost like a campaign of hate. They're trying to get into our minds.
Yeah.
And make us turn against WSPN.
The fact that your families are lacking in serious fundamental ways does not mean that our family is lacking in the same ways. And so I would ask you to hold your tongues.
That's right. It's projection.
Yeah.
They're seeing this nastiness in their own families, and they're like, oh, well, this must apply to their family as well.
Yeah, that's not really how projection works, but
it's terrible.
You get the core concept.
Well, you shoot it. It goes out. Pew, pew, pew.
Projection is 3 syllables, so...
Anyway, what were we talking about? Caden. We were talking about Caden. And we're going to have Caden on here in a minute, but we got so many callers right now. Let's go ahead and take a call. We're going to get one of them on the line, and we'll have Caden come up right after that.
Welcome to Radiation Ships. How can we service you?
Gentlemen, hello. I'm the great Rudolphi Gorenzico.
All right. Great. But before we get started, are you a human?
Last time I checked.
Okay. And where are you located?
I'm in the Sadlands.
Okay, anywhere in particular, or do you just sort of wander?
We'll say north, but sometimes I transmute to south, east, and west.
Okay, so you're all over the place, but primarily north. Let's see, are you around the old ruined Blockbuster or the slugs, the slug people thing?
Lord Pennington's farm, yes.
That weird slug cult thing up there.
Why, I've done many magic shows at the Blockbuster.
Okay, cool. So that's where he is. All right, go ahead, Professor. I think looked like you had a question for him.
Well, yes. What's what's up?
I don't know what to do. My relationship has taken a turn. There used to be magic in it.
Okay.
And it was wonderful. Now it's not so much anymore.
Okay.
So let's get some of the ground rules of this relationship, sort of what's going on, get a baseline. What's the relationship? I guess. Who's it with?
Well, it was with my assistant.
Okay, with your assistant.
Okay.
Okay, was this relationship of a romantic nature?
Oh, yes. Very much so.
Okay. I assume, because you said assistant, you have a workplace relationship as well as a personal relationship?
Of course. We've had a long relationship.
Okay.
Some in many kids, in circles and pits.
Okay. Well, we can relate to that somewhat, as the professor and I, we are quote unquote friends, but we also work together.
Yes.
So how do you deal with the romantic side?
Well, like I said, there's no real romantic side, but we do have a workplace and personal relationship, I guess, at the same time going on here. The romance would definitely add a different spice or flavor to it that, of course, doesn't exist between the professor and I.
Right.
It never has.
No. And I would say the magic, as you put it, in our relationship is well,
that's probably Caden. I think Caden is the magic in our relationship.
Caden, I was going to say lives changed, but Caden, is not without his mystical charm.
I guess it depends on whether you're talking literally or symbolically.
Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely one of those two things. Okay, so when you say the magic is gone from your relationship, I assumed initially that you were speaking metaphorically, the romantic spark, the passion betwixt you and your assistant. But the more you talk, I'm getting the impression that are you speaking of a more literal magic?
Well, I guess you could say so.
Right, I did.
So does that mean that the magic isn't working anymore? The wand's not sparking like they should? What's going on?
Yes, it's similar to that.
Oh, okay.
It's, you try to pull 3 rabbits out of a hat, and you end up pulling 3 hats out of 1 rabbit.
Okay, sure.
It does sound uncomfortable.
I'm not sure how big a help we can be here, because we aren't practitioners of magic ourselves. Personally, I don't like throwing with magicians in general. I find the practice of magic to be disconcerting and something that is difficult to pin down and hold down in the dirt.
Yeah, it's a little lame too.
Yeah. So
Is this because you could never find the coin that's behind your ear?
I'm not even gonna look. I'm not even gonna look for that. You stay out of my head, okay? Thank you much, caller, for calling in. You have a good one, and hope things are looking up for you. Try sex.
Indeed, I will. And come see me at the Blockbuster.
We might do that. I don't know. All right, we need to get back to Caden now. The big elephant in the room. The question on everybody's mind, what is Caden? What does he have to say? What is Caden like? What does he care about? Why did he summon a bone wraith, which is still a sticking point?
Yeah.
I mean, when I really think about that, it gets me a little disturbed because I don't know if there's bone wraith in here.
Yeah.
If it's still wandering around in here somewhere, it could be. Who knows? But anyway, looks like it's time for another commercial.
Yes.
So now this specific commercial is my favorite. It is the best commercial.
Yes.
All right, so people, you don't change the channel. It's just something to look forward to. It's something that you should have probably been looking forward to all day long. It's a really, really amazing piece of work. And here we go. Commercial, go.
Join us for special hours on WSPN as we present the encore marathon of fan favorite Places to Rent. Modern-day everyman Flub Batchcock is evicted, and it looks like he has nowhere to live. But now, he's fighting back against odds to turn the tables and change everyone's mind. Meet the very dramatic tale of one man unwilling to settle for a studio apartment, uneager to pay for water, and loath to spend more than a little over $1,500 or so of out-of-pocket for the first month, plus security deposit. Utilities really should be included at this price point. In a world of lease to own, watch one man's uncompromising struggle to carve out a room he can temporarily call his own. In Places to Rent.
We may not be made of silver, but we will make you feel spoiled. On WSPN. The Spoon.
In all my years upon this earth, I never thought I would see the day where such a product and or service would become available to the common man. And not just the common man, the uncommon man. To me, personally. Radd, if you're interested, I could be persuaded to share with you.
Well, of course I'm interested in that fabulous product and or service. Anybody who wouldn't is insane.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Vile creature. I wouldn't even know where to find a person like that.
Well, we don't really find them, Radd. They find us.
They do.
So if you're a vile and disgusting creature, if you are clearly insane, give us a call, and we'll fix you up.
That's what we do.
It is.
Speaking of what we do, we're going to talk a little bit more about those questions you had for us, about some of the stuff you've asked. Some of you ask questions like, do I have a girlfriend? Of course I have a girlfriend. Why would you even ask about that? It's pretty obvious somebody like me would have a girlfriend.
Is it?
Well, I mean, to anyone sound of mind, I would say yes. It's pretty obvious. But moving on to Caden, questions about Caden.
I mean, I trust you, Radd.
Now, we've gone through some...
Can't imagine why you'd lie to me about something like that.
Pretty descriptive, pretty nitty-gritty items with the professor.
Despite the lack of all proof.
I just thought I'd share sort of my feelings on what Caden is.
Whatsoever.
And sort of experience of what Caden does. As the professor said, he is the producer. He does produce the show.
He is, yeah.
And he exists somewhere in the bunker. We all know that.
Yeah.
At various times,
Somewheres.
Is he some kind of, bug or something? But that doesn't seem very likely because he doesn't really, skitter around.
No.
So he's not a bug. And we'll have him here in just a few minutes here to tell us a little bit more about himself. But before we do that, we got a bunch of callers coming in. We got an interesting one, I think, on line 3 there, if you could put them through. Caller, what's your name and what's wrong with you?
Hi, guys. Super excited to be talking to you today. Gosh, this is the best day ever.
All right, good to hear from you. Like that enthusiasm.
Positivity.
Before we get started, would you consider yourself to be a human?
Well, I don't know if you can really consider me a human, considering I'm the one.
Okay. Well, then I guess the other question we don't need to ask about.
The one human?
Well, I'm the one.
The one human. So you're not a human, you're the human.
Well, the question says, do they consider themselves human?
Right.
Apparently not. So
Okay.
we can move on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're the one, and you're calling us for, I don't know, what advice? You want to be the 2 or something?
Gosh, guys, I really need help today.
Okay. Sure. Absolutely. That's what we're here for. That's our bread and butter, what we do every day.
Let's start this on more pleasant conversational terms. Caller, we know that you're the one. What's your name?
Yugo Shingi.
Yugo Shingi.
I'm really scared.
Okay. Well, don't get all worked up. What can we do to help you? What's wrong? What's going on with you?
I'm just worried I'll never finish my exams.
Oh, well. Yep, that is a problem. That's not something we normally touch on, but I think this is a nice, change of pace. It's something we can help you with. Sorry, go ahead, Professor.
Absolutely. Scholastic pursuits are very important. Now, what is the nature of your examinations? And what do you feel is threatening your success?
And you're not in medical school, right?
Oh, gosh, not yet. But gee, that would be really cool.
All right, I'm taking my finger off the disconnect button.
Okay.
I really just need to finish my A-levels. But gosh, how am I ever going to finish my A-levels if my sensei keeps telling me I have to be the one?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
That old chestnut.
Sure. And I think we all have things that distract us from our goals and stuff like that. So this sensei, is constantly telling you got to be the one and interrupting your exams. Is this during the exams, or how is this preventing you from finishing those exams?
Well, I keep telling him the only time I have to train to be the one is during my lunchtime. But gosh, he keeps pulling me out in the middle of classes just so I can train to defeat the ultimate evil.
Okay. Yeah. And your teachers are just letting them pull you right out of class like that?
Well, what choice do they have? He's my sensei.
We've all been there. So what are your feelings on being the one? Do you like that moniker?
Gosh, it would be so awesome to be the one. I don't really think I am. But Sensei says if I work real hard, I'll be able to defeat the ultimate evil.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sun Tzu didn't want to be the one either, but the art of war contained a clear prophetic warning about the impending confluence, She, of course, stated, hey, big guy, sun's getting real low.
Okay. Have you ever met the other guy?
Can't say I have necessarily. Do you have a name or something like that?
The other guy.
The other guy.
Okay.
I'm looking for the other guy.
Okay, I mean, Professor is a guy. I'm a guy.
Yeah. So you have one guy, but you want another guy. So it's a sort of a polyamorous quest that you're on.
Have you seen the other guy?
Right. Okay. So he's the ultimate face of evil. Do you have any idea of I don't know, hair color?
Well, I know he works for the Strike Force Corporation.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Strike Force Corporation.
So if you know where this other guy is, what's stopping you from confronting? Is it just a matter, are you working hard enough?
Well, gee, I work every chance I get. Sensei says that's the only way to be the one.
Right, yeah. Well, persistence is important, but so is luck. Sun Tzu would have never been cast in Girl with the Pearl Earring if Kate Hudson hadn't pulled out at the last minute.
Yeah. And sounds like you got yourself sort of a vocational school side thing going on. So I don't know if I'd worry about those exams. I mean, what's the point of exams, really?
Yeah.
Gosh, exams are important.
Well, sure, they're important, but it's really just about, this other person has taught you stuff all year long.
But you've got to pass if you want to be the best.
Sure, but this other person's taught you this thing all year long, and now they're just they put a piece of paper in front of you and they're like, prove it? Like, what is that? That's just an insult.
But how else are you going to prove that you're the best if you don't take exams?
Well, who cares what they think? They're just teachers or whatever.
This would be so much easier if I had my brother-sister with me.
Okay, so you got family. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your family? What's that like?
Gosh, I haven't seen my brother-sister in years.
Okay. So
when things are difficult for you emotionally, it's difficult when you don't have someone to turn to.
My brother's sister was taken away from my mother, father, brought to the evil dungeon factory of the Strike Force Corporation. Now it is my ultimate goal to defeat the other guy, the ultimate face of evil from the Strike Force Corporation. I must defeat them, or I will never become the one.
Okay.
It's ironic that sometimes our loved ones leave us when we need them the most. You know, I would imagine in this time of turmoil, you want to turn to your family member and say, big brother, sister, why does it hurt?
Right. So, at least we have a goal here, because you said initially you sort of misrepresented yourself. You said you're having trouble with your exams. Obviously, you just need to, defeat this corporation. So I think they have a branch office in the Sadlands. Are you in the Sadland area, or are you outside of it?
I'm so far outside of it.
Okay.
So far.
Okay. Well, then we can't obviously lend you any help physically, but I know we can just help you with some advice in terms of what things you can do, steps you can take. Now, you say you got to train to beat this, and this is your main goal, but you're worried about exams. You know what? I would say just look at this as, like I said before, a vocational school. You know, proper, traditional, so-called, learning and normal methods for learning aren't for everyone. And school is basically worthless if you really look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody ever uses algebra in the real world or trigonometry. I mean, not unless you're some kind of rocket science or aeronautic engineer, and airplanes don't work anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's the even point of that?
Yeah. Science is of use if you're science, but if you're not science, then science is pointless.
Well, the scientific method is good, but, you don't have to go to school to learn the scientific method.
It was. His technique was impeccable.
It's just a method.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. You work hard, you try to strive to be your best, but you have to remember, the impermanence of our achievements. When Sun Tzu was married to Ryan Reynolds, she was sure that would last, but few things ever do.
Okay, well, let's put it in your world is this. You had brother sister captured by a corporation, so let's focus on that. Let's use those words to talk about that. First of all, the school thing, like I was saying before you interrupted me, just drop out of school. Like this being the one thing. How well does it pay?
Is a diploma a prerequisite to being the one?
Well, gosh, you've got to focus on your education if you're ever going to be the one.
Well, sure, but education comes in a lot of forms. Now, for me, it was, the school of hard knocks, back alleys, and that sort of thing, and that made me
back
who I am.
Back alleys are the best for showdowns.
That's true. They're very good for showdown. You ever had a showdown in a back alley, Professor?
I've been to back alleys.
Right.
There were things that were shown.
Okay.
There were downward motions.
So, yeah.
So, essentially.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you in principle there, caller. Anyway, like I was saying, does being the one pay well?
Gosh, you get everything when you're the one.
Okay, so sure, passing your exams is important, but if you got everything when you're the one, do you really need a diploma?
But how else are you going to be the one if you never, ever complete your exam?
Well, hang on. Let's go back to what you said your sensei said. Your sensei said you have to train to be the one. Your sensei is pulling you out of classes. Now, this is your sensei, And if they're saying you got to be the one, it sounds like a little bit better career path, frankly.
Right.
Then, what are you going to do? Finish your get your diploma and then, go work at a convenience store or something?
What did your sensei tell you to do?
Oh, I don't have a sensei.
Everyone is assigned a sensei the first day they eat solid food.
Maybe not. That might be a thing from where you're from, but here, you don't just get a sensei. You generally have to hire one.
Yeah. Well, and walking this back a little bit, I thought you said your sensei was certain that you were the one, but you're saying that you have to work to become the one. And so what I need to know is how many students is your sensei training? Is this an exclusive arrangement, or does your sensei have multiple students all functioning under the ruse that they are the one, and he's laughing all the while, just lining his pockets?
Well, gosh, senseis line the halls. They watch over every kid. That's their job.
Okay.
Sounds a little creepy to me.
Well, I mean, they're senseis.
You have rows of older men lining halls, staring at children.
Yeah.
Hugo, I believe that you are in a dangerous and toxic relationship, and I think you need to get out.
Your sensei is a man?
Oh, do you have a sensei, Professor? That brings up an interesting point.
I have sensitivities.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do they tell you?
I mean, they are sort of a non-binary system of impulses that tell me how I am to relate to the world.
Okay.
I wouldn't embody them as a single person, but if it was a single person, again, who was standing up in a hallway just watching me, at a young age, I would maybe tell another grown-up.
Okay. So, I mean, you could tell another grown-up, I guess. That's a way to... Yeah, why don't you tell another grown-up about your sensei? Is that what we're saying?
I think so.
Advice?
Yeah, maybe not. Don't tell another sensei about your sensei, because it sounds like they may be in league together, some sort of academic NAMBLA type situation, and that doesn't sound like a healthy place to be.
So I should tell my teacher that my sensei should not be my sensei?
That's probably what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I would have to differ from you there, Professor. I would say just go ahead and you drop out of school, do the sensei thing. Like, I mean, worst comes to worst, even if you find out you're not the one or you can't work hard enough to be the one or however that works, I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure you could learn enough to become a sensei from your That seems, if there's senseis lining the hall, it seems like it's a pretty, active job opportunity there.
It seems like a pretty
Especially
simple...
if everyone's assigned a sensei.
Yeah.
When they first eat solid food, that's nearly everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it seems like a pretty simple career path as well. Just find a younger person who's a little naive and very impressionable, maybe has a little bit of money. Tell them that you know more than them. Tell them that they are the one, and let your bank account fill.
Haha, your advice seems contradictory.
Well, that's the thing about advice. Sometimes the best advice isn't, here's the road in front of you, and you should walk down this one road. Sometimes the best advice is, there's two doors. There's two choices to make.
Yeah.
And do you want to pick door A, or do you want to pick door B? And we tell you to pick both. And it's up to you to decide, listener.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you're walking down the road, on which you must choose your path, do you walk down the center, as to make sure that your long cloak billows as it should?
I mean, walking down the center of the road, sure. I mean, unless there's like other traffic, I guess you wouldn't want to walk through the center.
Yeah, you want to make sure.
Yeah, the point here is
traffic signs.
I'm not talking about a literal road. I'm talking about a figurative road, and there's choices ahead of all of us, and we all have to decide which way to go. So, make up your mind, caller.
Haha! I'm off to walk down the center of the road. Thanks, guys.
And that has made all the difference.
Indeed it has. Indeed it has. Okay, Caden, can we cut that call? Caden, what's going on here? Where's that? Where's that music coming from?
Caden. Okay, thank you, Caden.
Okay. Well, that was something.
It was. That was on the spectrum ranging from something to nothing. That was most certainly not.
It was more something than it was nothing.
Yeah, it was not nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So, that was interesting. I think that's I'm not sure where that caller is from, but it's not from anywhere I'm familiar with.
No.
So I have to say that expanding listenership just from people everywhere. Listening to our show, being able to get something from it.
Yeah.
This young caller called in without direction, didn't know what to do. And now they're out there, walking down the center of the road, playing the road.
Yeah.
And it may not be a good idea, but at least it's an idea.
Exactly. I mean, I'm still a little hazy as to what exactly his plight was.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Because one thing we do need to know, callers, when you call in, and you tell us about your problems, we need to actually know what your problem is.
Yeah.
So maybe take some notes ahead of time and just sort of figure out what's wrong with you. And then you can pass that knowledge along. If if you have a sensei or you don't have a sensei or things like that, just make sure to sort of tell us all about that at the top of the call.
Right.
Because otherwise you're just wasting our time.
Yeah. Yeah, and take care to arrange your thoughts and your words neatly if you're a foreign caller like our last caller. As Sun Tzu teaches us, things are often lost in translation.
They are. They definitely are. Speaking of lost in translation, we need to have Caden in here. Caden, would you mind answering a few questions? Okay. Caden's telling me we're almost out of time here, so I guess we need to wrap up things. Any last thoughts for the listeners today? It looks like we got to call this one short. I mean, I feel like we pretty much dealt with all the issues about Caden. It's pretty obvious, Caden is Caden.
Yeah.
That's sort of that kind of says it all.
Yeah, I think it does. I have a few thoughts that are not for the listeners.
Okay.
So I'm done.
You have thoughts and not for the listeners?
Yeah, no, I have thoughts.
We'll
but
just go ahead and just throw some out there.
I've given them
Why
enough.
not?
Yeah.
We'll just throw some thoughts out there.
Thoughts out there.
Just anything that comes to your head. I mean, we've got watching the clock here. We're ticking down. We still got a little bit of time left. So, just anything that comes to your mind. If you have, something to say.
Yeah. No, I definitely have things to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna have to bump Caden. Maybe we'll look at that next month, next year. I don't know how the schedule's looking.
Yeah.
But we'll figure that out. I'm sure he'd love to get back on mic and sort of talk to you people. He's got a few fan letters too that I'm sure he would like to address at some point. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and leave that with you there, callers. This has been Radiation Ship.
It has.
I've got to go check under my bed now.
You too.
So it's been nice talking to you all again.
It has.
Thank you for joining us with the lovely family of WSPN.
Mm-hmm. They are.
On next, if you will stay tuned, and you absolutely should.
You should.
The second episode of Places to Rent.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's a docudrama that I've been completely enraptured by, and definitely am actually listening to when it comes on.
Has a
after our show.
Compelling protagonist.
And the plot.
Yeah.
Whoa! Don't get me started on that plot.
There's definitive character development.
Okay, well, this has been a Radiation Ship.
It has.
I'm Radd Flink. With me, as always,
You
the
are.
Professor.
I am.
Don't come looking for us.
Don't.